round 13, West Adelaide missed out against the topside Norwood by a kick after the siren. By 1 point they went down, and that was the top team. They played the bottom team in Port Adelaide in this match, but the symptoms of that last up loss were about the same, in that they just couldn't put a score on the board.
Yeah, it was difficult. They came out of the blocks well, so they wanted to make up for last week, there's no question, but it was going to be the learnings from last week. We're going to see if they came home to roost, and if it was going to be a close game, what they would do. It certainly turned out that way. After a good start, it was only a low-scoring game, and West again were under pressure at around about three-quarter time.
They led by a couple of goals at quarter time, Westies, but they'd had a real dominance of possession. And then in the second term, well, Port Adelaide didn't score a goal until the 9-minute mark of the second term. That was their first goal for the afternoon, but they got a bit of a kick on after that, and by half-time, scores were locked away. In the third term, finally West Adelaide started to find some possession and clearance work forward of the play. They kicked 3 goals to 2, and it was just a 6-point margin at three-quarter time.
Yeah, well, this is where the pressure was going to come into it, and we were going to see if West Adelaide had learnt from last week. They had that opportunity, they steadied, they were composed, and they decided to attack rather than defend as they did last week, and they gave themselves every opportunity to come away with a victory. It wasn't high scoring, but they did really well in the last quarter and showed the benefits of their learnings and came away with a good win.
Ryan Willett's important goal in the last quarter. He just went back in the third quarter, I should say. He just went back then and just knew what his distance was and was able to kick the goal. Here's another one from Brad Fisher, just showing his desperation, following up. Well, it was just basically a hit and hope kick from Brad Crouch, and in the end he was able to kick the goal.
It was, and Fisher was really good. He ended up with 4 goals today. He was probably the difference between the two sides. When West went forward, they had some structure about them. Fisher was their man in the last line of attack, and he gave them every opportunity to score.
Just taking the mark and being able to convert from that position on the ground, Brad Fisher with his 4th goal of the afternoon. That was basically the sealer, 21 minutes into the final term. So there's how the match unfolded on the scoreboard. As I said, 2 goals in favour of West Adelaide at quarter time. Margin, well, there was no margin at half time, but it was out to 6 points at three-quarter time. And having had that bad loss to Norwood last week after they'd led from siren to siren, only to go down by a point with that kick after the final siren, Westies found a way this afternoon to win this game. They won by 17 points.
Yeah, the centre breaks was a real difference in the game for West Adelaide. 14-3, that's unbelievable, really. But they had that ascendancy all through the game. The other stats pretty well evened out, but the inside 50s as well, Westies, because they were winning the clearance from the centre, they got ahead there, and that was the difference between the two sides.
West!